Oh boy. Another video game, another controversy. So this time it's Black Myth Wukong. For those not aware, this is the first AAA video game coming out of China. It's got almost 2.5 concurrent players right now on Steam, which is absolutely bonkers. The game has 100% rating on Steam last I checked. It's just doing absolutely insane. ScreenRant, what kind of spineless ass shit is this? You can't go retroactively downgrade a game because you missed some allegations. Why don't we just go back and downgrade every artist that's ever made music, or every studio that's ever made a film, or any director, or anything at all? Downgrade their films, downgrade their music, downgrade everything just because new allegations have come to light. That's not how it works. Whoever this author is, his name's been removed for their safety. That's some bullshit. I don't deny that maybe he's received some like hateful messages, but when the fuck's a gaming journalist ever legit been like in harm's way? They're not out here exactly reporting on the news in Gaza or anything like that, so let's be fucking real here for a second, okay? I'm not saying online bullying's okay, but please, just there's a difference. This is kind of spineless, sir. You have the backbone of a sea bass. So what's the controversy? Well, leading up to its release, there's been reports that the owners or creators or the studio, I believe the owners of the studio, might be sexist. They've said some remarks. IGN did a whole thing on it, and then that got a little bit of a backlash because Chinese people, or so they claim, mentioned that the report might have been mistranslated, and some of the things that the IGN was claiming just came out wrong because of translation. The editor who worked on the report, that's now quit, Rebekah Valentine, that also goes by Duck Valentine on Resetera Gaming Forum, was saying that is not true, and basically please read my article. One interesting thing, and this is kind of like what it boils down to, it's not that the game itself is sexist. It seems fine from what I've heard, although I haven't even played it yet, so I wouldn't know, or I can't fully say. It's a deep dive into the toxic community that sprung up around the game due to its founders engaged online and yada yada. So what do we have here? The truth doesn't really even matter anymore. You kind of just pick a side. Do you believe, yet again, there's something controversial about this game? It should be banned. It should be boycotted if you want to fight the good cause. Or you're on the other side that's like, holy shit. Once again, you got journos and people that are trying to boycott a game. It's not going to work. It never does. 2.5 million players. Another thing that's caught my attention is this journalist here for Gaming TMZ Kotaku is basically trying to get people to message her that are avid watchers of Asmongold that have noticed the shift firsthand. What does she mean by the shift? Well, when he, transitioned to an alt-right, racist, homophobic, Nazi piece of shit, essentially, right? Which is very odd to me. If you're looking to enlist the help of people that are avid watchers, then you must think his audience has shifted, so you must think of the same of them. So why are you trying to enlist their help? That's some covert shit right there, right? I'll let the comments speak for themselves, but basically people are like, just fucking interview the guy himself. Like, what are you doing here? I'll tell you what is, clickbait, trying to drum up anticipation for the inevitable article, I'm sure. I did some digging on Miss Alyssa Mercante here just to see, has she always been fighting the good cause? Is she a poser? And surprisingly, I've actually found quite a bit of stuff from her from Pipe Dream, a column she wrote for. I found kind of interesting, let's say. That's sort of setting the tone for how I think this article is going to turn out. It is dealing with customer service the way my parents taught me. So she starts the article by basically talking about the troubles the hardship she's experienced as a young blonde woman, and how she's always the victim of poor in-person customer service just because no one takes her seriously. She's a small blonde woman, so basically her parents, super tough Italians. One of her parents, I believe her dad, was a police officer. Be tough. She tries it, so she goes into an experience she has in college where her sling box, she has an issue with it, so she's calling customer service right off the bat. She's admitting Slingbox reroutes her customer service to an Indian country, and basically she's saying she starts the call with calling about him. They're talking about some closed ports. The person on the other line is saying if you don't open them, they won't work. So she responds with, well, what are you talking about doesn't exist, with anger slowly creeping into my voice. I crushed a pencil in my hand into dust. Holy fuck. I'm pretty strong, and I got, some meat on these bones. I could not crush a pencil into dust. That is quite crazy, so a little terrifying there, but already the rage seeping in, the hatred, the dark side enveloping, right? Miss Mercante here. It doesn't work if you don't fix it, ma'am. Super bitch interrupted. And so here's how she's now referring to the customer service representative trying to help her. Wrong moves for an enemy. Prepare to feel the wrath of Alyssa Mercante. Crazy writing here. listen, ma'am, I've called my cable provider and they said you're making stuff up, so can we try attacking this problem for a different angle? Super bitch sighed and said, no, I already told you, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit if you can watch my Slingbox from your location. I don't give a shit what you've already told me it doesn't work. I paid $300 for a stupid thing. It hasn't worked since I've gotten it. You've been nothing but nasty. You absolutely fail your job and I can barely understand you. So already a hinge of racism there. There's no need to raise your voice. Okay, why do I say there's a hinge of racism? Indians are not that hard to understand. I've worked with plenty of them. If you have eardrums and you try, it's really not that hard. So there's no need to raise your voice to me, Super Bitch said, daring to play the moral high ground. Ooh, how dare you challenge me? Oh, but there it is, I said, now in an evil villain mode, taunting my prey. Look at the way she's referring to this customer service trying to help her. Super bitch and now prey. Apparently, you think I enjoy calling you 7 times a day just to be told the same thing every time, so I can sit here and stare at a laptop with a non-functioning Slingbox on it. Apparently, you think I enjoy arguing someone of subpar intelligence for 20 minutes after spending 10 minutes on hold listening to staticky elevator music while simultaneously boring my eyeball out with a pencil, which I thought she already crushed into dust, but whatever, I guess she has plenty of pencils. Blah, blah, I'm a customer, you aren't serving me. Pause, click, bam, the manager's on the call, everything's resolved. So there you have it, folks. If you want problem solved, just add a smidge of racism, a dash of insulting, people's intelligence, and you'll have everything you needed done for you. Why do I bring this article into question? Because that kind of sets the tone of how I think her article on, Asmongold is going to come out. I'm sure, it's going to be fine. There's not going to be any dramatic over-exaggerations, hyperbole, anything like that. I'm sure it's going to be super fair. There's not going to be any hatred in it at all. So yeah, this is Alyssa Mercante from 2012. She's got multiple articles here from Pipe Dream. She has been an actual senior columnist, so you can say what you want, but she is a legit journalist. The interesting thing is I've actually looked at some of the comments. So a lot of these don't have any comments, but some of them, interestingly enough, the one where she's talking about dealing with customer service, the way my parents taught me, doesn't have a lot of nice things to say. I mean, this is from 12 years ago, so she's had consistent hatred for a while, right? What a privileged princess. There's a theme here. I'm guessing this is in reference to the rest of her articles. I stopped reading as a young blonde woman. This I actually can't completely dismiss, to be honest, because my girlfriend coincidentally is also actually named Alyssa, is also a blonde woman, also has tattoos, and also has experienced some bullshit because of her gender and all that. The difference is she has a little bit more empathy and understanding. Maybe Alyssa did at one point too, I don't know, but it sounds like she has a lot of hatred and rage built up from a while ago. She was a senior columnist. She has experience. Doesn't mean we should listen to everything she says and just put more weight into that. Not necessarily to look at your CNNs, your Foxes, your whatever. It doesn't matter. A lot of those journalists suck. They're just doing this for clickbait to draw more business, because everything in this country is about business. If you folks haven't figured that out by now, corporations aren't your friends. Even, Pride Month in June, do you really think corporations give a shit about your views and values? They're just trying to squeeze every dime they can out of you. I actually personally find it, kind of gross what they do for 1 month. I feel like if you're in the LGBTQIA community and you want to actually go support your local businesses. Never buy from your fucking Nikes or whatever just because they're putting a little flag on there. They're just taking advantage of you. Corporations are there to make money. That's literally the entire purpose. Increase shareholder value. It doesn't matter if they pretend to be socially aware for 1 month out of the year. They're just doing that to take advantage. So a lot of journalists do the same thing and drive up clickbait. We'll see how that article goes. To tie it back to something Miss Duck Valentine here said, I believe her name is Rebekah Valentine. She hasn't played the game and stuff, so it's not even about the game. It's about the toxic community. Okay, so if it's not about the studio or the game, then why the fucking problem with Hogwarts Legacy? This is where I get confused. Nothing with that studio, nothing with its creators, nothing with the game at all, and yet people went batshit over the game, which again ended up breaking records and probably getting even more revenue than it would have if not for the controversy. It was all only because of the creator of the property, J.K. Rowling, who had nothing to do with the studio or the game. So if that's the case, then you're kind of contradicting your own thing here about toxicity in the community and everything as a whole. I'm tying it back to that because that's been the argument in a lot of cases with studios, your Cyberpunks, the Stellar Blades, your Hogwarts, and now this game. It's either something with the studio, it's either something with the creator. I think the larger point here is some of these journalists are just self-righteous and they're looking for something to fight against. You can still folks, you shouldn't feel bad about being excited for games just because a person did a bad thing that's maybe tied to the studio in some way. If we're gonna start going down that road, you can never enjoy anything, because I guarantee you, the clothes you buy, the music you listen to, the media you consume, the food you buy from different grocery stores, everything has some shady shit going on. So if you want to play that angle, you don't want to support companies that support Israel, any of that stuff, you're gonna be left with like not much at all. So I think we should be realistic and choose our battles. I think an instance where gaming journalism actually did good was uncovering the, you know, grotesque stuff happening at Blizzard. That was actually a good example of gaming journalism. You got an actual long-standing ongoing case of sexism in that company. You got men drinking women's breast milk like from the fridge or something like that. I hope I'm remembering that right. That is some grotesque shit. I'm just gonna say it. So that's an example of gaming journalists doing a good thing. But I think there's also cases where they're trying to uncover the next Blizzard and they're maybe looking too hard at things that are not really there. It's fucking rough, that's all I'll say. So to tie it in, I think an issue we have in the gaming community and as abroad in life community is people just don't want to talk or find middle ground. I'm not both sidesing this. I'm not saying like both sides are good, both sides are bad. This is more about like commonism. Talking, finding common ground-ism, right? That's what I'm trying to say here. It really does feel like there's just some point and then someone's on that side, someone's on that side. Everything is just so political nowadays. Everything. Games, media, film, fashion, Olympics, it doesn't matter. There's something that comes out and it's a hard like this side and that side. I think moderatism is actually good. I think most of this country are moderates, which a lot of people put a bad name to that. I don't understand why. I think if you're moderate, that typically means you agree with things on both sides. You're trying to find common ground. That's more where I identify. That's gonna immediately blacklist me on like 90% of dating sites. Thankfully, it doesn't matter. I have a beautiful girlfriend that I love very much, who leans very liberal, I might add. So I'm not too concerned there. And I've dated other women with more open viewpoints. I wouldn't want to date someone on either side that's just so fucking extreme in their ways that they just immediately outcast the other side. They don't even want to talk to them. I think that's the dangerous precedent. I think that's what's going to lead to even more tribalism, and just, you can't put people in such black and white buckets. We're very complex, you know, humans are very complex. We have complex thoughts. We don't just think in black and white. In fact, by doing that, aren't you compartmentalizing and conforming if you're just like super on one side or the other? Even if you're on the left and you truly think what you're fighting for is social righteousness, freedom of expression, self-identity, but by just outright refusing to even have a conversation or acknowledging anything beyond that fringe side, doesn't that also mean you're conforming? Like you've already made up your mind and now you yourself are in a bucket, like a very extreme bucket? Because that's what I think. For myself, I'll give two examples of how I consider myself more complex. For example, when it comes to abortion, I'm absolutely against the ban on it. I think it's really dumb. I want to say I understand where the other side is coming with an argument, but I really don't, because if it's about, you know, women not doing enough and just spitting out babies left and right, you can have a woman take birth control, the boyfriend, husband is wearing a condom, and there can still be a baby made. That's a very real possibility. So what should happen in that case? Well, what you probably hear is a religious angle. Well, that means God willed it, that child should be born. I have another issue with that. If you start bringing religion into politics, which I was under the understanding that this country is supposed to have separation of church and state, aren't we kind of starting to go towards what other countries are doing with religion that lead to some very not good stuff? I'm not going to name any, but I'll let you use your imagination. You know, countries where religion kind of runs their politics. Isn't that what we don't want? So why would you then say in a case where a woman did everything right and then still got impregnated that you should just have that child because it's God's will? I think that's just creepy, to be honest. Nothing against religion. My family's very religious, myself less so, still believe in something. I just don't know if I'm gonna put it behind a book. So that's my angle on that. And then on the flip side, I'll bring up a trans issue, another hot take recently, child reassignment surgeries. I don't know if they're really happening a lot, but it's definitely in the conversation. And I think if you could have it done today, a large population would say, go ahead, have 8-year-olds just, if they think that's what they want to do, just have permanent gender reassignment surgeries. I just think there's not nearly enough research on that, and that is a hard no for me. I'm not an expert, but I was a child once and I've had a lot of thoughts and phases I went through. I'm not saying being trans is a phase or anything like that, but I'm saying as kids mature and grow up and you're figuring your own self out, you don't really Some of us just do. Like in my case, I knew very much who I was, what I liked and all that. Some don't, but I still don't think that means at 8 they know for sure. I think you can have your parents support you and you can do everything right if you want to self-identify as, you know, a different gender or whatnot. But to even have that discussion that an 8 or a 10-year-old should be able to have permanent gender reassignment surgery, until we've had far more research into the matter, I don't know. Something that can have permanent, insane repercussions. A lot of people, I truly think, if given the option, would just vote it in right now and just allow that. You can just have your kid say something, and a parent that's maybe even coming from a really good place, trying to help out, brings their child into some, you know, clinic, and a couple meetings later, a couple visits later, they just have that surgery. That's crazy to me. So anyways, I'll close it out there. But yeah, what a crazy fucking world we're living in. Everything is just so goddamn divided. I think we should try to find more common ground and understand, you know, there's a place for gamers, there's a place for gaming journalists, and then in general, we should all try to find more common ground, not less. Stop being put into buckets. But that's probably never gonna happen, so I'm sure I'm gonna get thrust into some kind of bucket myself if this video gets anywhere. I'm very humble. I have like 100 subscribers. I've worked hard for them. Myself, I started this channel recently. I've had it like for years. I mean, like YouTube, when it came out, I made one, and I made some very shitty World of Warcraft videos. They're still up there. You're welcome to see them. Just watch your eyes. I'm not gonna edit them in here. It might honestly blow up the video. You can view at your own risk if you want, but I recently wanted to get back into it and have fun practicing video editing and just getting more comfortable talking in front of a camera. That's why I'm doing it. So yeah, I'm certainly, you know, no big fish by any means, but I have my own opinions, and I just thought on this matter, I thought I'd share them. So hope someone enjoys this. Peace.